Hi, everybody. Brian Moran back again, talking about leadership, and in particular, what it takes to have your team perform at their best. And so there's a lot out there on culture. What I want to talk about today, though, are three specific structures that you need to have in your environment if your people are going to perform at their best. Whether it's a team of one or it's a team of thousands. And I haven't seen this in the literature, so I want to give you some stuff to really think about that can help your team, help you and your team really perform at your best. And there are three structures that are required in order to do that, regardless of what you value. So whether you value innovation, whether you value collaboration, whether you value you're customer centric, it really doesn't matter what you embrace as the values. These structures sort of undergird that. And there's three of them in particular. And the first is clarity. So one of these key structures, in order to have a high performance culture, in order to have a culture that delivers on the values and lives into the values and the vision, we need clarity. It starts with clarity of vision. Now, the interesting twist on this is usually when I say that, people think about the vision for the organization, which is part of it, but it's only part of it. The other piece of that is we need clarity as an individual about my personal vision and how succeeding here at work enables that. Think about that for a minute. This is the work that's rarely done. And it's because the reason we work is to live the life we want to live. Business isn't life. Career isn't life. It's part of my life. And so the real work around vision is helping each individual determine what their vision of life is, and then how contributing here helps me live into that vision. So it's not enough just to have a vision for my organization. Really want people to understand and have clarity around the vision for their life, and then connecting the dots between the vision we have for the organization, how they contribute, and the vision they have for their personal life. Because when those two are connected, that's when you have an empowered workforce. The second area of clarity is around goals. And most organizations do pretty good with this. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. But we need specific goals, and what we found is less is more. And if you've heard any of our stuff, if you've read the 12-week year, we talk about how we have limited capacity. So you can find more on that at the 12weekyear.com. But limited goals, less is more there. The third area around clarity then is clarity of action. And this is really clarity of expectation. And this is an area that often breaks down for most organizations because at the planning level, we never get tactical. We stay conceptual, we stay directional. And not only can you not execute concepts and direction, but it doesn't create the kind of clarity that we need by individual around expectation. So that's why we spend a lot of time with our clients teaching them how to plan tactically so that it's spelled out. And in some of our organizations, for the first time ever, people now know how we win, which is really empowering, it's really inspiring, it's really motivating. But we have to have that clarity. If any one of those areas is fuzzy, it doesn't work. Fuzziness doesn't work. You don't get good results with fuzziness. We need clarity of vision, and not just organizational vision, individual vision. We need clarity of goals, and I would argue maybe most importantly, or secondly, behind the personal vision stuff, is the clarity at the action level, the clarity at the tactical level. All right, so that's the first structure, clarity. The second structure that's required in order for your team to perform at their best is what we call transparency. And what that is that's the ability for everyone in the organization to see if things are getting done or not. So imagine now, if we don't have the clarity at the tactic level, then the transparency is worthless if you can even create it. Because it's really about transparency around the actions that we're taking. That's the area that's really critical. That not only am I clear on what the actions I'm supposed to take, but the transparency comes in as, am I taking them or not? Am I doing the stuff that we said we needed to do week in and week out to accomplish the things we want to accomplish? And most organizations don't have that kind of transparency, partly because they've never got the clarity around the tactical things. And so they're asking people to sign up and take ownership of stuff that's fuzzy. People won't do that. And then when you create transparency around it is meaningless because the actions aren't that granular. They're not that well defined. But when we have clarity around tactics, now we can create transparency in the organization around each member of the organization. To what degree am I doing what is in the plan? What's most important? And that transparency is critical because we're all drawn to do other things. There's the day-to-day that creeps in and crowds out the strategic. So without that transparency, it's really easy for the organization to work day-to-day. And we move the needle a little bit, but nowhere near what we're capable of. All right, so we've got clarity of expectation, transparency for everyone in the organization, every level of the organization. Are they doing what they need to do week in and week out in order for us to be where we want to be? And then the third structure is really evidence. All right, so we've got the clarity, we're clear on what we need to do, we've got the transparency, are we doing it or not? The evidence piece is it producing what we thought it would? We need validation of what our actions are doing. So that's the measurement piece, right? And the measuring not only the lead and lags, but measuring our execution as well. And again, if you want more on that, 12weekyear.com, but that evidence piece is really critical because that's the final piece that tells us, are the actions effective or not? And it allows us then to make adjustments, game time adjustments that have an impact. Otherwise, we're just guessing. We go in a room and we guess at it. And so all these components are critical. And it starts with that clarity. If we don't get clarity at the tactic level, then there's no way to know at the evidence level what's working and what's not working. We may know it's not working, but we can't pinpoint the breakdown. So again, regardless of what you embrace as your values, these three structures are critical if you're going to have a team that performs at their best, that really performs at what they're capable of. And that's true whether it's a sports team, whether it's a business team, whether it's a team of two, or whether it's a team of thousands. Clarity of expectation, transparency in terms of what's getting done, evidence of whether or not it's producing. And it's one of the reasons why the 12-week year is so powerful as a system, because it provides that to your organization, to every member of your organization and the organization as a whole. So I've got more to say on culture. We'll talk about that in another video. For now, if you'd like to learn more, 12weekyear.com is where you can find us. I'm Brian Moran.